Thank you. We found that means a lot because I feel like a lot of the things we're trying to do and that we are doing in terms of media and kind of stepping outside the circles of wrestling, that's really the intention, is just to meet the person. You know, if you meet Rhea Ripley and you like her, then you'll be more inclined to watch her do her thing. And Netflix, they're doing that a lot, so thank you.
You're good, Jan. You're good? All right. So, Cody, back in Cincinnati, we got Friday Night SmackDown coming up tomorrow night. You got the belt in hand. Just what's it feeling like being back here? I know you've had a couple of stops here throughout your career, right?
I feel like a couple of stops it doesn't do it justice because this is one that we hit quite frequently. Heritage Bank and Cincinnati in general has been a huge part of WWE, but for me, there's a lot of synergy behind training originally in this part of the country, coming up to the WWE developmental system, and the fact that in this tag match for SmackDown, it's Randy Orton, who also a mentor in my career. I don't get to, be a champion and get to the place I'm at without him, and I don't want to scare anyone. I just don't know how many more of these tags that you get to have with somebody like a Randy and have it in such a great place like Cincinnati. So this will top all the fun memories we've had here so far, and we've had a lot of fun memories.
Yeah, so Randy, of course, like you said, don't know how much longer. Is there anything, I know you don't want to give away the secrets or anything, but I mean, with you coming up to this one, are you thinking of doing something special with a guy like him on a night like this?
I think when I say we don't know how much longer we have, a lot of it stems from the fact that Cena has made it so clear this is it, this is the final year. A lot of wrestlers are, when they're saying, hey, I'm out, they're meaning it more than ever, solely because it's a young man's game, and not that that really affects either of those two guys, but at a certain point, you can step out and say, hey, this thing is in the best place it's ever been. Wrestling is everywhere across so many different platforms. I can walk away satisfied. John with the record number of championships and Randy actually quite close. I just get the sense we won't get the opportunity to tag. Just a good old-fashioned, old-school tag team wrestling. I just get the sense we won't get to do that again, and I want to make sure that this one is very special.
Yeah, what kind of treat are the people going to get tomorrow night?
Yeah, very. And SmackDown, some nights you're out there and it's just the interview, and you get to come out and you do the big entrance and the pyro and all that. But I almost feel sometimes my appetite isn't fully satiated if I don't actually get to wrestle. So I'm excited that I get to put the boots on.
Yeah. So when you were in the developmental, like you brought up, you were in Louisville, right?
Yeah.
So pretty close by. I know about an hour and a half.
It was a drive. That's what the thing. Yeah. It was a drive.
You're kind of back in your old stomping grounds, right? You feel that every time you're back here?
I'd actually say that people looking at a map will be like, this guy's crazy, but I'd say that for Louisville, for Indianapolis, for Columbus, for Cleveland, for Cincinnati, all of these, even Chicago. It was an area that I was not really familiar with until I got into the developmental system, because I was from the South, WCW and Georgia, and my dad's stomping grounds in the Florida territory before that. So this part reminds me a lot of just the developmental days and the time when I was training to be a wrestler and learning about all the things you need if you're gonna carry big gold and if you're gonna make it, and to be able to come in as WWE champion with the mentor I had previously in Randy Orton, who, when we started Legacy, which was our faction years and years ago, he was WWE champion. It's kind of the circle of life, the way things are supposed to be.
I know you've been through a lot in your career. How much does that belt mean for you to be able to hold after, getting that a couple years ago, and you finally are holding on? You seem to be holding on to it tight.
I
don't want to give it up anytime soon.
I very much don't want to give it up anytime soon. And what I like about having the title, or if you're Seth Rollins and you've got the World Heavyweight Championship, is not only do you have the championship and you get to bring the title everywhere you go, and there's a sense of pride just when you walk backstage and you have it on, but there's also a responsibility to it. And I get to 10 years from now, and we'll see, but 10 years from now, I get to say that during WWE's most prolific era of sports entertainment and pro wrestling, I was one of the guys who was a champion and a leader in the locker room. And that's, I think at a certain point in my career, I thought that's definitely not going to happen. I felt like I was almost just going down. So to be able to get to this point, I like to continuously remind myself just to put it out in the air and to the ether, and because if it all ends tomorrow, it's been an incredible ride.
brought up Seth. You got that big one coming up in about
Perth.
10 days.
Yeah.
Right? What's that show gonna be like?
So I think a lot of wrestlers would think wrestling back to back, in a sense, going from TV and then right to Western Australia to do what is a big boy title match, for the Crown Jewel Championship is difficult. But for me, I like the reps of it. I feel like I'm ahead of the curve because we do have this match with Randy, myself, Braun, and Bronson Reed. But Perth, I am very curious as far as how that sounds in terms of the acoustics and how that sounds in the crowd. The Indianapolis show we did the other day, WrestlePalooza, that's the first time I've ever heard "Let's Go Cody, Cody sucks." And you can't control those things. I loved it. And I feel like sometimes when you're the champ, naturally you are in a position of, well, let's see if there's going to be a title change. That's always exciting. This situation with Seth and Perth, the man is down 3. So any sports story ever will tell you either I definitely have his number and it's never going to happen, or he's creeping up on me. So that, I'm very curious if that translates to the acoustics there in the crowd. I'm looking forward to it. I spent a month in Darling Harbor filming Street Fighter just recently. So the idea that I get to go back and I put the Australian flag on the back of the robe this time, I'm real excited because that place was a second home to me.
I want to ask you about Street Fighter, but first,
yeah.
I mean, to me it's still crazy, the peck from a couple of years ago, fighting Seth with that. I mean, just personally, I have to ask you, I mean, what was going on with that night? Like, how were you feeling when you were doing that fight?
There was a lot of just, I guess, embarrassment over. I hated the idea that I had to go get surgery. It was such a terrible, tendon tear. There was no way you could do anything if you were going to continue at this game. You had to get the surgery. That surgery is going to put you out 7 months with how bad it was. It was completely tossed. Walking around that day and having this extra size chest because of all the blood and it being pushed up there, and then the idea that when you take this robe off, the whole world's going to know how bad it is. There are things that in our game, there's this suspension of disbelief. Those are those moments where it's almost too real. And I don't think I enjoyed any of wrestling with a torn pec, but I certainly felt like I was a different person after it happened. And I have to thank Seth for that. I have to thank WWE for, I think if they'd seen it up close, maybe they would have second-guessed themselves. But it was really the only way I would know how to do it. I don't disparage anyone who gets an injury and wants to take time. We got to stay healthy these days. The name of the game is being able to do this consistently. But that's how I wanted to go. Just absolutely kicking and screaming, dumb 25-minute plus match, going through tables, getting hit with a toolbox, kendo sticks, all while one of your arms is not connected to your chest. Not my wisest decision, but I don't think I'd change it.
That was gnarly. Even today, like leading up to this, seeing that picture again, I'm like, how did he do that?
Yeah. Well, a lot of people were like, oh, he must have taken something for the pain. The way WWE is today, I think I had 4 baby aspirin. And I also think I was looking for like a normal anti-inflam and couldn't even find it. It was just almost a comedy in terms of the errors and mistakes going into it and the fact that we went the distance in the match that we did. I think a lot of people backstage thought maybe 5-6 minutes. No, it was quite a dance.
I wanted to ask you before letting you go, you brought up Street Fighter.
Yeah.
Excited for that one. What's that been like for you? Not really branching into I guess you guys kind of say branching into a new outlet, but getting the acting on the big screen. What's that experience been like for you, continuing to grow your image?
I was very blessed that I grew up playing the character in terms of I grew up playing Street Fighter, and I knew Guile, and I knew he was a charge character, and I knew how to do the sonic boom. I could do a flash kick. I was very pumped that I got to fill these shoes. What really helps, and when people see the movie, I think they'll see is Kalina, Koji, Noah, and the director, Katao Sakurai. That was a very serious, that was a very, a great amount of homework went into it. Every scene, weekend rehearsals, just details upon details. So that way when you get somebody like me who's just coming in and doesn't know this world that well, or an Andrew Schultz from stand-up comedy, or 50 Cent as Balrog, when you brought us in, they made our world a lot easier to play in. They gave us so much to work with, and it's one of the greatest experiences of my life. And part of that being in Australia, it was such a wonderful place to be. I think people are going to love that movie. And if they don't, I know I had a great time making it, but I think they're going to love the movie.
Can't wait for, what is it, October 26th?
October 16th, so it's a year from now, basically, yeah.
Can't wait for
I think it came out, and my mom was like, wait, it's coming out in a few weeks? I'm like, no, it's a year, but yeah.
Oh, can't wait for that. Or is that, I mean, are you going to continue doing that, you think? Go a little rock route?
I think the worst answer I could give you is to say no, because if those opportunities come up, I love those opportunities. The idea that we can go off and do this and tell stories in different worlds and meet these new people and challenge ourselves as storytellers or artists or however you want to look at a pro wrestler, it was very helpful for me to do it. I came back better at wrestling, believe it or not, from being able to go do that. So I'd like to find my own lane. I've watched what Rock has done. Smashing Machine is, no pun intended, it's a smash. It's unbelievable, his work. Batista, completely different lane, unbelievable work. John Cena and the Peacemaker stuff, it's gangbusters. If that's the route we're going, I want to find a different lane, but I'm very grateful for the path that they've set and how they're doing it.
Probably going to kill it.